Greetings, my data science friends. I wanted to make this short video to talk about a little known command that gets used in R and RStudio called the scan command. One of the challenges always in data science and in statistics is how do I get the data that I've been given into the actual platform that I'm going to use? And that can be cumbersome and challenging. We've already talked about how to enter in libraries and put data from big data sets that's known, but that's things that have been put in for us into the CRAN repository. But what happens, of course, in the real application is the data sets are going to come from someplace else. And of course, one way to do that is to import a data set. And we have a menu for that here in R. But I like to use that import data set if I have really, really large data sets, several hundred or thousand of data points. But what happens when someone sends over to me a handful of data sets, maybe 10 or 15, and I'm supposed to do some sort of analysis with that data? Well, I certainly can create a script vector. That's something that I can do without any problem. But a shortcut to this that makes this challenge less cumbersome is the scan command. So for example, let's say I was given 5 data sets of employee ages. I'm just making that up. So I'm going to create a variable called EA for employee ages. So employee ages. And then I'm going to make that equal to the scan, and then I open and close the parentheses and hit enter. And then what happens is now I can just type in the data. So I have an employee who's 24 or 34 and 24 and 22 and 53 and 56 and 67 and 68. I just made that up, right? So I've got this handful of data sets for these 7 employees and their ages. And so now when I hit enter, I'm going to have the 8th data to put. But if I don't have a date or a data to put there, no birth or age, I'm sorry, I hit enter again and it read 7 items into R. And so now when I call this variable, I get this vector filled with these birth dates. So that's something that I utilize quite a bit. Let me show you another application. A lot of times when someone says to me, hey, I have this data and I'm going to send it to you, they'll send it to me in a comma separated value file. Or sometimes they'll just send it to me as an Excel document. So let's take a look here. This is gross domestic product data from 2015 for the second quarter by state in the U.S. So if I wanted to look at, these are the populations of those particular states. So I could use Excel and copy this column. Again, this is only 50 data points. This isn't a lot, but that's something that I wouldn't want to have to type all that by hand, of course. But instead of using the data importer, I'm going to use the scan command. So I've copied this column, and then I'm going to create this population 15, I'm going to call it, equals scan, open and close parentheses. And now I just paste the data and hit enter, and it says it read 50 items. So what's happened is I've made this sort of shortcut using the scan command. And it's very useful, especially when I have quote-unquote smaller data sets that I'm going to enter in. But they would be way too cumbersome to type all these without getting an error. All right, check out that scan command, practice it, use it for the things you're doing in your assignments, and I think it can be really helpful to you.